Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I'm your host, Kareen Mills, with the Being Mother Hustler podcast, and I've got a wonderful mother hustler with us today, Lisa Waknin. Welcome, Lisa.
Hi, so good to be here. Thank you.
So, we're really excited to talk to you because I know your husband, John, and John says, you need to interview my wife. You need to interview my wife.
That's
And
John.
I'm like, I need to interview her because of his compassion and his dedication to what you do as a support, system. So I want to hear all about that in a little bit, but let's talk about your childhood and let us know how your childhood was, how you were raised, your mom and dad, who they are, and how were their style of parenting impacted you is not
Okay.
not just as a child but also as a mom when you become a parent.
Well, so first of all, I was born in Brooklyn. I come from a middle class family. I actually was raised in Trump Village. It was about six apartment buildings
Mm-hmm.
in Brighton, near Brighton Beach, in Brooklyn, about a block away from the beach. And it was an amazing place to grow up. Each building had about 23 stories. There were six buildings, each about 23 stories high, with 21 apartments on each floor, all filled with kids. So
Wow.
it was definitely a magical place to grow up. And everything was, it was a regular childhood. I went to camp. Everything was pretty normal and nice and fun. And then all of that changed when I was about the age of 14. My dad left my mom. My
Mm-hmm.
mom was a stay-at-home mom at the time. She didn't know how to handle anything.
Wow.
And my father left her for another woman, and he took all the money out of the bank and left us basically with nothing, zero.
Wow.
So here I am. My mom is like basically falling apart. I'm 14 years old. I have one older sibling, a brother, who was actually thrown out of the house prior to that because he had a super bad temper, and my mother and I were actually scared of him.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in any event, I, at 14 years old, went to work full time at a place called Crazy Eddie. I don't know if anybody out there knows that, but it was the largest record video rental.
Mm-hmm.
Video rentals just started coming out. I actually launched their video rental department.
Wow. I've heard of it.
Yeah, and it was. So I worked every day. I was in high school at the time. I worked every day after school from 2 o'clock till 10 o'clock at night,
Wow.
and all weekends. And
Wow.
that was my life. I skipped a grade in middle school, and then I also graduated early in high school. And by the time I graduated high school, I was literally burned out from working every day and going to school, and of course going out. I had a pretty adventurous lifestyle because at 14, I found myself actually almost being like the head of a household. My
Wow.
mother was not capable. She was great. I loved her, but she wasn't capable of handling things. She started to drink.
Mm.
Our life, we moved from a three-bedroom apartment to a one-bedroom apartment. She had a man living with us who was basically a bum that she met. She just couldn't stand the thought of being alone. And I couldn't stand the thought of being there with this bum living in my house either. So it was a very hard existence. I was like the adult. I brought money home to my mother. Then she went to work. And I came to the point when I was about 17 or 18, I had asked my mother to get rid of this guy, and she didn't. So I left. My father at the time, beating it up, was now with another woman.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I tried to have a relationship with him. It was very difficult. He didn't help me at all financially. I had an apartment, a tiny little dingy apartment in Brooklyn. I could barely make the rent. I wound up. So now here I am. I graduated high school. I'm working full time. I'm burned out. I'm trying to get into college. My dream was to become an attorney one day, right? I
Wow.
wanted to be an attorney, and I just couldn't do it. I literally couldn't do it. I couldn't. afford it. I needed to make money. I was tired. So I found a job just by luck in the fashion industry. Back in those days, you didn't have a phone, right? So I had
Yeah.
a newspaper. I actually pounded the pavement in New York City. I had a bathroom at a department store. I'd fix myself up in, and then I'd go on an interview. So I landed a job in the fashion industry. I started making some money. I had basically hardly any clothes. I literally would
Wow.
go to work in the morning. And now here I am in a showroom, right, with all these other girls close to my age or older, dressed really nicely. They came from a fluid background, and I had nothing to wear. I would go to the office and run into the sample room before the other girls got there and change into a sample of clothing in the back. And it was too big on me because if you saw me, I'm about like 95 pounds. So,
Yeah. Wow.
so I
What were
did
you
that.
doing in the fashion industry? What were you
So,
doing?
okay. So I went into a place to interview in sales, right? It was the largest showroom in all of New York City. It had a ton
Wow.
of different manufacturers in this one. It's called a rep, and they had all these different manufacturers. And this woman who was extremely intimidating was interviewing me. And I had no experience here. I am from Brooklyn. But I knew if I wanted to make money, I had to get into the city. Okay, that's where my instincts taught me to go from Brooklyn into New York City. So this woman's interviewing me, and she's, asking me, "Do you have an experience?" I said, "You know what? I don't have experience here, but I know I can do this. I know if you give me the opportunity, I'll be one of your best people here." So she goes, "You know what? I'm going to give you a shot. You remind me of my niece." It turns out her name was Barbara Tomei, and her niece was Marissa Tomei. So
Oh my gosh.
that's the woman who hired me. Yeah.
Amazing.
So
This
I
gives
didn't
me
know her.
goosebumps.
I know. She's like, "You remind me of my niece." So I I did it. I worked there, and I got lucky. I did very, very well. The person in charge of the showroom, the owner, gave me a great opportunity, and I fell into it. And like I said, I definitely got lucky. I got on one of the best lines out there. They saw what I can do, and I went from like a rookie to a major player in a short amount of time in sales.
Wow. That is amazing. Okay. 14 years old, getting a job, essentially becoming the head of household. And I can see where your mother is coming from too, because I guess that really shuts you down and pull your self-esteem down. But at the same time as well, um, you only had each other. And uh, I think your dad, we already established that your father leaving at that point in time and taking all the money is messed up. But
Terrible, yeah.
your, and when she went downhill from there too, it's like you're it, Lisa.
That,
How amazing.
that was
Like,
it. It was pretty much sink or swim. And so here I am now. I'm in the garment center, right? I'm in the fashion industry. I'm on like one of the hottest lines in the fashion industry. And I'm making more money than I ever thought. Like
and having clothes.
I had clothes, right? I had clothes. I mean, there was a point before that happened. I literally would eat cereal and baked potatoes for dinner. I didn't even have a winter coat in New York City. Like I had less than nothing.
Wow.
And the owner of the line that I was working on loved spoiling all of us in the company. We were just making tons of money. So he'd be like, "Well, here's the charge card. Go buy yourself a couch. Go buy this. Go." It was pretty crazy. And it was a great experience. And I actually met my first husband at the age of 20. Got engaged. That was married by 21. Had children, and then while all this was happening, I was sending my mother checks and money all the time to
Mm.
buy. But I had a very difficult time seeing her because she still had this creepy guy in her life, and I just wanted nothing to do with it. If she wasn't going to get rid of him, it was hard for me to be around that.
Mhm.
So I had to make my own way. I got married. I married into this crazy, amazing family, right? I guess I was desperate to have a family around me. And so my husband at the time, he had brothers and sisters that were my age, his mother. It was like this big, amazing family, right? Now, the funny part about this is while I was in the fashion industry, I would go out and I would go to different showrooms. And one day I met this really nice man he was one of the owners of a showroom. And he was like, I'd love to introduce you to my son. And I said, look, I'm in business. I don't do that. I'm not going to go out with your son. Okay. I want you to look at me like a professional. I wouldn't have any of that. And he'd go, come on, I'd love for you to meet my son. He had a French accent. As it turned out, I went out one night with my girlfriend. I was in a bar and I met this guy and he came over to me. I thought he was actually going to talk to my friend Donna, who was really beautiful. Everybody went to talk to Donna, but he came and talked to me. And I took his number. I wouldn't give my number out. And I wound up calling him. And then I talked to him on the phone. And as it turned out, his dad was the guy who owned the big showroom in New York City. Who wanted.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just the weirdest thing.
Isn't life like just so like that? So, I mean, if it's meant to be, it will find its way to you.
It's true. So here I am. I'm dating him. We hit it off like it was magic. And he takes me. His family had a house in Southampton. They were very wealthy. And I'm swimming in the pool. I never told the father I was dating his son. And he looked at me and he was like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "I'm with your son." No. He was like, "Oh my God." So, and that was it. We got married. We had 2 children together. And then, now here's the fun part. Okay, speeding it up. We're married. I have a couple of kids. I'm working full time. I have his mother's actually watching my kids. I paid her to watch my kids. I really didn't want to have a sitter that I didn't know. Mm-hmm. And all this, I'd be with the kids and I'd be like, where did Daddy go? Daddy's been gone a long time. Where did he go? And little by little, he started like kind of disappearing on me, my husband. Wow. It turned out that he was drinking.
Wow.
He was drinking and I had no idea. He was a raging alcoholic behind my back.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So with 2 little kids, and so a good portion of our marriage from, I would say, for probably 10 years, I lived with this incredibly tough situation with my husband, who's a raging alcoholic, a binge drinker. He'd go fine for months, and then all of a sudden, it was explosive and scary. I plotted for years. So here I am. I mean, I don't come from any money. Everything I ever had, I worked for myself.
Right.
But, having 2 kids, and it takes a lot to try to save up, money to live on. And I was really scared to go out on my own. He worked, I worked. So I felt like kind of hooked to him for a number of reasons. One, I loved him. He was the father of my children. And the other reason, realistically, financially, I was scared to go out on my own with 2 little kids and not have any support. But as time went on, it got so unbearable that I had no other choice. I went and had divorce papers filled out. Never told anybody. I just put them in front of him one day. I said, "I know you love your kids, but I don't want to be married to you anymore. I'm not asking you for anything. I just don't want to be married to you anymore. I don't want to live like that. And just give me money when you can." There you go.
Wow.
And that was that. We got divorced.
You're a strong mother hustler, strong woman. I'm telling you, sister. I love hearing everything, because I think when you're faced with adversities like that, because of what you have gone through with, your dad leaving and your mom sort of kind of leaving you mentally, like she was there, but she really wasn't there.
No, she wasn't there basically at all.
Right.
She wasn't. I loved her, but she wasn't. She was a great mom.
So, I mean, you just have to swim on your own at 14. I can only imagine. I mean, my kid is like, my oldest child is going to turn 13. And it's like, oh my gosh, they don't even know. They have no idea.
No idea. That's why I try to tell people, I'm like, my kids make fun of me now. Like my older daughter calls me like, I'm like the godfather of the family. I take care of everybody, and my kids. So I had two great kids with my first husband, and as I got divorced and I had guilty working mother syndrome. I had to work. My kids knew never to mess with me. I had to put food on the table and take care of them. And I was, make no mistake, their sole support. Basically, even though their dad said I'll help out for years, I mean, I'm the one who got presents on Father's Day. I was the mom and the dad. So I supported them almost completely until he got on his feet and started to get sober. But I was really the main person. And then, so now here I am, guilty working mother syndrome. I have to work my butt off. My kids are in school, and I see my older daughter is starting to do badly.
How old were they when that all happened?
Well, when I got divorced from my ex-husband, I'm going to say my kids were 7 and 10. They were 7 and 10. Well, no. Oh, geez, it's been so long. Let's say 8 and 12. I'll go with 8 and 12 with the finality of our relationship. And then by the time my daughter hit 14, I saw that she was, my oldest daughter, when she hit 14, she wasn't doing as well in school as she should have been doing. I was starting to have a very difficult time with her. And then by the time she hit 16, our lives changed. It was like going through that tunnel, like Alice in Wonderland, like something is really bad is happening, and you just can't stop it. You're powerless, and you think to yourself, well, what did I do wrong? What could I do better? You go for tutors, financial incentives. Nothing worked. My life started to spin out of control, and I felt like such a huge failure, an incredible failure. I took it. One of my favorite expressions, and I have a lot, is the fish stinks from the head down, So if everything is good, I'll take the credit. Everything's bad, I'm going to take the credit, right?
Yes,
so,
amen to that.
Yeah, and so I took it, that it was my responsibility. And my daughter was failing miserably in school. She was hanging out with the wrong people. She was spinning out of control. And I didn't know this, but she started doing drugs. And I had no idea. And then when it was in my face, I was in denial about it. I'm like, she tried something, so what? Who didn't try stuff when they were a kid?
Right?
I didn't have an addict mentality. I didn't understand it. I had no idea.
How old was she when she was doing this?
16.
Wow.
16, she tried OxyContin. And that was done. That was game over. It was game over for us. I call it the OxyContin generation because it was like all of these kids, all of them her age or a little older, they were all sinking. Right before I saw it. I lived in Marlboro, New Jersey, and it was as if an entire generation of these kids were doing these pills, and it just changed the course of everyone's lives.
Wow.
So from the age of 16 to 18, I went through incredibly tough time. Here I am. I literally worked 50 miles away from my house. I commuted almost 2 hours each way every single day from the beautiful area of Marlboro, New Jersey into New York City, that's where my living was, in New York City.
Wow.
I took a commuter bus to work. I can't even tell you how many times I'm on the phone and I hear my kids screaming, Jessica's doing this and this is happening. I'm like, oh my God, I'm on the bus. Like 40 people on the bus hear me like screaming at my kids. I'm like, I'm going to call the cops. It was just, I can't even tell you. It was like everybody knew me. I was so embarrassed. It was
wow.
challenging. I look back, I don't know how I did it because I literally was up all night hearing kids in my house kicking people out, and then I have to get up and work the next day. And if you ever saw the movie like All That Jazz with Roy Scheider, where he was like wash his face and get up and like showtime, that's what I felt like every day. It was like hell in my life.
But you were a determined mom. It wasn't like you weren't like your mother.
I wasn't going to let my kid fall. I was determined, and I had to go to kids' houses. I was not going to take this lying down, but I couldn't force her to go to rehab either. That's the crazy part. From 16 to 18, I just wanted my kid to graduate and go to school and pass. I had no idea what I was dealing with. I enabled her, did all the wrong things. By the time she hit 18, I kicked my own daughter out of my house, kicked her out because life became unbearable with her there. I had no choice. Getting robbed, crazy people in my house. I had a little kid that, a little sister 3 years younger. She was trying to survive this too. Her and I plugged together. I look at it like her and I, like my little one, Sunny. Her name is Sunny.
Wow. What a
She,
suiting name.
yeah, right. It's a cool name. I named her Sunny after the Godfather, and
Oh,
bad temper too. you
that's
know.
awesome. So how did Sunny, I'm glad you told me her name. How did Sunny deal with all this craziness? Because you are away 50 miles every day, and she had to deal with probably people coming in and out of your house. I mean,
That
sister,
kid,
your
that kid.
life is like a movie.
It was like a movie. That kid, I'll tell you something. That kid is one tough kid. He is, I always say, like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? And the life events could mold you. I feel like Sunny is like this, like, incredible, like, superstar. I have goosebumps talking about her because she's the kid who saw her mother crying. She's the kid who saw her dad as alcoholic. She's the kid who never would drink, never would smoke, always wanted to make me happy. She is the incredible overachiever. She
Wow.
wanted to do well in life. She never wanted to have any of that, and she wanted to make her mother proud. So yes, she's an overachiever. She's at UCLA Law School now. She got scholarships. She's on this thing. This person recognizes her. That person recognizes her. But more than any of that, she truly is, with every fiber of my being, the best type of person out there, the most incredible heart, the most integrity. She is the best person I know.
Wow. So when you say the fish stinks from the head to the tail, or
From the head
however,
down. Right?
from the head down, and you say if it's great, I'll own it. If it's really bad, I'll own it. But you have to understand, and I want you to know that, as a parent, I think we only try our best, but sometimes our best might not be good enough for one child. And you could showcase that in your two kids, that you parented them the same way. And,
Yeah.
and so the other one just chose a different route. And then the other, so anything and everything that we do, it really impacts our children. And sometimes it impacts them in the most positive way. Kind of like you watching your mom, probably thinking like, I'm never going to go downhill like that. And then so you took it on a
Exactly.
positive spin, and you became this baddie that you become, and you like swam through life and made it, more than swam through life, like you made it. And yes, there's going to be bumps on the road. We all know that there's going to be little bumps and challenges and adversities, but with the way that you're parenting, you have to understand that you did it the same way as the other one, and the other one just chose to get that different negative impact out of life, and then the other one took that in the most positive way.
Exactly. But she had, my little one definitely had a tough time. But here's what she did. Okay, so she pushed herself away from people for a while and kids her own age, and she immersed herself in anything that would make her better, from reading to taking art lessons to voice lessons to playing sports to that's what she did. She just kept building herself. And while all that was going on, I'm running around, I was jumping on airplanes at the second notice. As soon as my daughter, from the age of 18 to 21, would say she wanted help, I would take her to a rehab. And there were no rehabs in New Jersey at the time. So that meant getting on a plane and going anywhere I could to get her into treatment. And we did.
Wow.
I would take her anywhere, send cars to get her, no matter where she was. I would just jump on it in a second. And if now speeded up, she went to now 12 different rehabs, kept failing, kept
Wait a minute,
relapsing.
a dozen.
A dozen rehabs, and they were all in Florida at the time. Went to a dozen rehabs 12 times, and every single time, as soon as she left, she would relapse because they would only let her stay 30 days. It wasn't enough time. It was a disaster. I was losing my kid, and now here she is. She's like, I have no hope for myself. She felt like it was hopeless, and when that happened, I thought I was going to lose my kid, and I became so despondent. I just didn't even want to live anymore. My husband found me inconsolable one day. Now this is John, the husband, you know.
My buddy John.
Yeah, your buddy John. He found me inconsolable one day. Here I am. I didn't even want to live anymore. I felt I was just losing my kid. And he brought me to a doctor, and the doctor said,
So when you were having a struggle by then,
"I was having a breakdown
you
already."
already met John. John's already in your life.
John's already in my life now. John, I met almost right after I divorced my husband,
Got it.
and it was unbelievable true love with John. It was just like, we're like two little kids. It was crazy. And of course, I felt guilty about that too. How could I be in love and my kid is going through this? I mean, it was just, I felt terrible. Well, happy and sad. I never really felt any happiness. So everything was very bittersweet. That's the best way to say it. And my kid, I was losing my kid. John brought me to a doctor, and the doctor said to me, which shocked me, he said, "You're mourning the loss of your kid. Even though you didn't lose your kid,
Yet.
you feel so despondent. It's as if you're in mourning right now." And that's how I felt. And then I looked in the mirror and I said to myself, I pretended I was an Israeli soldier at this point now. And I said, "I'm not going to do this. I'm not going down. I'm not doing it." And here I go. I went back in the ring and tried again with her. And one day I was getting ready for work, and I called up her dad, and now he's sober, and he's a great guy now. We're best friends. He's wonderful.
Awesome.
And I called him. I said, "We're going to lose Jessica. You got to help me find her." He meets me. Instead of going to work, we drive to Rhode Island where she was. We found her. I left my car with him. Meanwhile, now Sonny, I'm calling Sonny up while we're driving to Rhode Island. I'm like, "Sonny, book as many airline tickets as you could find on Expedia right now, because when I get your sister, we're going to get her to Arizona. We got to get her out there." So she did. So Sonny's booking tickets. I got a hold of Jessica. Jessica said, to my utter amazing me, I will never forget this moment when I said, "Will you go?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "Really? You can go?" So, because she had given up hope too.
This is the 13th by this time.
This is the 13th time. 13th
Wow.
time.
And she went to Arizona. Well, now why Arizona?
We wanted to find a place that was so far away from everything, because my daughter was very pretty, had a ton of friends. One guy even drove to Florida to get her out of rehab one time. So we knew if we had to make this work, it had to be something different. We had to stop the craziness. And so she insisted. She found this place, and I was calling them up for 6 months, talking to them, trying to make this happen. And without even knowing if I had a place there, I got her. As I'm at the airport, I called up. I said, "Will you take my kids?" They're like, "We've been waiting a long time for this." And I got her out there, and that was the beginning of the change of all of our lives. I saw what it took for her to have a chance at getting sober. And I flew out here. I promised her I would fly out here once a month. So I said, I'd leave work on a Thursday, fly to Arizona, get in a car, and drive a few hours through crazy mountains, through this little town, Prescott.
So it's very remote.
Very remote, Prescott. And something worked here, and something worked. And so now, if you speed it up, we'll speed it up.
Hang on a second. How long was Jessica
in treatment there for?
Because I know you said Florida, they only took her 30 days at a time.
4 to 5 months she was in treatment here. It was a game changer. I owe so many people my life because they helped me save my daughter's life. One of the very people that helped save my daughter's life is my partner in my own rehab today. My partner, Brian McEnroe. He is probably responsible for saving, with no exaggeration, 1,000 lives. More, maybe.
Wow.
He's been in this industry for nine years.
So what did you see? Because now that you own your own rehab place, I'm so amazed by your story, and I am so thankful for John for introducing me to you. have you learned from all your experience? And by the way, kudos to you for never giving up on your child, because I think as a mom, that's our job, you know?
It is, and I honestly, I got lucky too. I mean, I could have lost my daughter at any given moment, and she was safe. The fact that I didn't, I thank God. Honestly, I thank God.
They say that the harder you work, the luckier you get. So you say that like it's merely luck. It's definitely you, sister. And you got to give yourself a lot of credit for all these things that, you know, you're enjoying the fruits of your labor, and now you are paying it forward. So tell me, what did you learn about this particular adversity? Because obviously you're so passionate about saving children from drugs. That's why you
I
own your
am.
own rehab.
I am. I'm so passionate about it. I saw from my own eyes what it took to get somebody sober,
Mm,
especially a young adult. And it takes everything. It's
mm,
not just clinical care. It's not just medical care. But I mean, you do have to have amazing clinical and medical care, right? It's therapy that can
yes.
get to the root causes and psychiatric evaluations and all of that. All of that is amazing piece of the puzzle. But now there's a lot of other pieces that are just as important, like their living situation. You want great supervision. You want to be able to incorporate some activities from the outside while they're in a structured environment and
Wow.
enough time. So as they progress in treatment, they actually learn how to we build lives and routines while they're with us so they can function when they leave. They're not just a deer in headlights. That's a critical component with these guys.
Wow, you're building them up.
Yeah, exactly. We have Yavapai Community College will come to our office and talk about how to enroll. We'll bring them over there. We help them get part-time jobs. We help them find living situations. It's not just, okay, cut the ropes. If we can have, and I love to have at least 90 days with these guys. If we could have the time, we can do a really good job with them.
So you say you would love to have 90 days. What is it that your program does? Because when you say you'd love to have 90 days, that means it's not required. What is the
It's
what
not
is the standard?
Well, the standard, most clients come to us for 90 days, but the reality of it and the unfortunate part of it is that not everybody could afford it. Not everybody has health insurance. So what we do is we will accept health insurance, right? And when you accept health insurance and you tell somebody, well, you have a deductible, hopefully they can meet it. But then we assume the risk as a company. If whether insurance pays us or not, we accepted your child into our program, right? So as you progress in treatment, the insurance companies look at it like, well, they start to diminish the level of care and the financial kind of the payout, because as you progress, you're getting better, right? So you no longer
Sure,
need to pay that level of care. But
sure.
that's not what works. We keep them in a level of care that's conducive to getting better, right?
Sustainable when
That's
they get out in the real world.
right.
Yeah.
So we like to keep people in our program for 3 months. So if they do have insurance, even if it runs out, we still keep them there for 3 months.
And okay, wow. Wow. This is amazing. So who pays for it if the
They don't
insurance
have
runs?
insurance. So if you don't have insurance, we do offer self-pay rates. We're one of the least expensive apples to apples out there for self-pay rates. We're able to offer the lowest pay, probably lower pay rates than other companies because I know how to run a business and I have the best help. There's no overlapping. I don't spend like $500 on toilet paper. I make things work and I make it work well. We have a well-oiled machine, a very well-oiled machine. Our clients get the best care, the highest staff to client ratio you could possibly find. And there's nothing we don't do to help them get on track. And everybody is so individual. And that's another thing. You can't treat them like, all right, this is the program. Everybody does the same thing. No,
Hmm.
everybody's different. So you need to be able to address
Yes.
that.
There's no one size fit all. And I love how you describe that because it sounds like our military guys, you know, like they go
Oh,
to
the
war.
toilet paper, right?
No, I mean the treatment when the kids go there and you know you teach them regular life. You teach them how to be in the normal society while they're in structure.
Absolutely. I mean, look, the reality of it is that a lot of these kids have spent a good portion of their the formation of their person getting high, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the simplest things, the things that we find simple, overwhelm them. They don't have
Mm-hmm.
time management. They don't know how to get up, get
Wow.
ready, get themselves together, how to do a resume, how to interview. We teach them how to do all of that. And we work with a lot of, we don't just work with kids, we work with a lot of adults too. They need just as much care.
Yeah.
Everybody just needs a lot of care, bottom line. And the reason why we have some clients that only stay 30 or 60 days is because there's such a huge portion of people out there that just don't have any insurance, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's when you're dealing with self-pay rates, even though our rates are competitive, that's not affordable for most people, regardless. Yeah. It's very sad.
Because it's like, I love how you guys teach them normal life inside though, because like I was saying, the military people, they have that PTSD when they come back because they don't know how to go back into society. And I love that component of your treatment because it is, like you said, they are always high when they were in drugs. And when you put them in treatment and you're just like a one trick pony, and you're not customizing the care and the treatment for each individual, it really doesn't work. And I love how you guys saw that and you changed that. But what, like, do you guys have anybody? So I'm very big in nonprofit, and I'm just like trying to help you and think out loud of whether or not there has been someone that said, hey, Lisa, I'm going to create a nonprofit for you so that if the insurance stops or there's no insurance at all, depending on the income of the parents or whatever you want to call the qualification. Because in my area, we have a free healthcare that I, pledge money to, and also help with their annual breakfasts, fundraising breakfasts. And the way that they, fund people in the community that don't have healthcare, free chiropractor, free dentists, just as simple as like our teeth. Right. A lot of people can't afford to go to the dentist. So we fundraise for them. So have you ever had anybody come to you that say, okay, the gap between the insurance and then the last 30 days, that's like critical to close that 90 days, come to you and say, Lisa, if it runs out in 60 days, we would like to pay for that. So it doesn't,
So more people could actually come to treatment. I would love that. And, I often thought about that. We've actually I had someone who called me up one day and said, look, my daughter got sober. So you helped us. So, and they had a lot of money. And so we're going to be sending 2 people to you that we're paying for.
Wow. Yeah. And if they can have an organization that can run, like a lot of wealthy people also are looking for that near and dear to their heart. Like,
That, and I would love that.
Yeah.
I would love that. And the beauty of it is that we're not a gigantic company where if you did make a donation, it would go to, ridiculous things. It would actually go to the care of people that need it, that truly need it. And we've gotten a few donations, and we're, as a company, we've even matched certain like living situations for them too, as a company donated as well. So if that would be a wonderful cause, I'd love to, see that happen.
That's awesome. So for anybody of you out there that is in Arizona, because you guys are in Arizona, right?
We're in Arizona.
Who loves nonprofit. I think that would be a great cause.
That would be
when you can close the gap from 60 to 90 days, which is, essentially the last hurrah of your treatment, and can really make a difference. I think I agree with you 100% that the 90 days would be so much better.
It's so much better. So we, like I said, for people with insurance that we accept into the program, we usually cost rate it. We'll just merge it together and let them stay 90 days, whether insurance covers it or not.
Wow.
It's for me. So I'm okay with taking the hit on the absorbing that, because we as a company believe if you can stay 90 days, that's what we'd like to see happen.
Yeah.
Right? So it's mainly for people who don't have any insurance. That's where the issue is. The people who don't have insurance, they're the ones who need so much help. They
Yeah.
need donations, they need scholarships out there. They really, really need that kind of help. If there could be a foundation that could help raise money so people can come into treatment with us, I would even be happy to work with the foundation, and whatever our typical standard of care it cost is for a month or to 3 months, I would be willing to donate back as well.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. Anybody out there, I mean, this is the power of my podcast. I was interviewing someone 2 months ago, and she just sent me a message like, I just finished a coaching call from someone in India, and she's over here in Portland, Oregon,
Oh, that's
because of your podcast, because I went on your podcast and she heard me from your, I mean, it's serving its purpose, it's holding space for people that, maybe need to spread their message. And this is really what it's all about. And especially specifically mom entrepreneurs and mom business owners. So I'm so happy. I was so happy to receive her message saying that. So I hope that we can send that energy out there in the universe and somebody will pick it up.
That would be a godsend to so many people out there. So, and that was a good idea. So
That's awesome.
That would be really, really wonderful.
So you said you have adults as clients, right? As patients, I should say. But most of your patients are the kids, the teenagers.
No, we don't take any teenagers actually. So
wow.
we service 18 and over. 18 and over. No, actually, we actually have a good mix of adults, middle-aged. We've even had people in their 70s come to us that are on painkillers. Thanks, Purdue Pharma.
Right?
We have all alcoholics of any age. So we don't just cater to. We have people come to us who's 40 years old. They are still the child of the person who made the phone call to me, who's 65 or 70. So it's not just a kid is a kid no matter what their age is, right? So it's not just young adults. Young adults need so much help because they feel like their life is over. They're awkward. They don't know how to mix in socially. They need a lot of work. A lot of the adults that come to us, some of them are already set up. They could be doctors. They could be attorneys. They could be successful people, but they have a drinking problem in their life, or a pain pill problem, or whatever, and their life is spun out of control. So we handle cases in every variety, every mix.
Do you think it's harder to, or is it just as easy to treat somebody that's been on or an addict of something longer than somebody who's been an addict of something, say 1 year versus 10 years?
No, I think it's just the individual or the substance. Medically, it can be harder. If you're dealing with somebody who's an alcoholic for 15, 20, 30 years, their liver could be shot. They could be faced with incredible, things that have to be fixed medically for them and physically. So, that's where the hard part comes in, the abuse your body takes, But it's really cool, the transformations that we see. Like literally we have people come in and boy, they're in like unbelievably bad shape, some of them. I mean, really.
Wow. Do you cry a lot doing your job?
I don't, because I see, I normally don't. I don't because all I care about is helping them with the best help possible. So I really have a tough exterior on, and I don't let them, and I don't want people to feel sorry for themselves either, because that's what they fall into too.
Yeah.
I at one time had a beautiful young lady crying, and she was just like, I don't know if I could do this. And I'm like, well, you're getting drunk around your girlfriend's daughter. That's not cool. You got to fix this. Suck it up. Let's go. You're in a good place. You're going to do good. And so I'm kind of like a tough mom sometimes, the tough Jewish mom there. Look, I'm like, if my kid can do it, you can do it. I don't want to hear it. You can do this.
Yes.
And the transformations are just incredible. They're just, it's like the ripple effect, right? So you affect one life, right? So their life gets better, and then everybody around them is just blossoming and grateful and happy.
Yes. And this is why I'm thinking out loud with, because those kids that you help are going to become professionals with the nonprofit. And I'm sure that if we provide them with an outlet to give back, they will be giving back in no time, you know?
Yeah, and you have to pay it forward. Look, when I was a kid, I told you, I'm 14 years old. Here I am, no money. So my first job in the garment center, I'm working in the fancy place, right? I take a bite of something and I crack my front tooth. And now I have no money to pay. I can't walk around with a cracked front tooth. I was like a hillbilly. So here I am. I'm hysterical crying. I'm like, oh my God, I have literally the worst teeth on earth. They just crumble. So I went to a dentist's office and I started crying. And he looked at my mouth. He goes, you know what? He goes, you need all new front teeth, actually, not just that one. I said, I have no money. And he's like, well, can you pay me a little every week? And I said, yes, I can do that. He goes, well, I'm going to, back then, nobody ever does that, right? So, and he was one of the first of his kind to have an office that had all the specialists in it. You know, they had like guys, specialists for caps and, for root canal. So, he did it. He gave me a whole new smile. And
wow.
The best guy in the business who actually did my teeth. And every week, like clockwork, I went into his office no matter what, and I gave them the money I promised.
Amazing.
And he took a risk on me. So I like to do that for other people now too and help them. You know, like you just have to be right.
You're an amazing woman. Now, the exciting part that I want to hear, because we're about into our time in closing, I want to know where Jessica and Sunny is at and what are they doing? How are they thriving? Because I'm sure they are.
Yep. Okay. So March 6th was Jessica's 4 years sober.
Woo!
And she is my hero, and she is the most incredibly wonderful, beautiful, talented, smart 4.0 student. Yay, 4.0 student.
Wow.
She's graduating Yavapai Community College. And my life, the best part about my life today is I get to see her every day. That's the best part of my life.
What's your message to her?
She's my heart. She's the reason I exist. I don't think I could love anything more than her. And I am so utterly grateful and so utterly proud of her and her fight and who she's become as a young lady. I respect her so much. She went through the most difficult time on earth, and that kid, she hung in there. She did it. She's doing it.
Well, you're her hero too.
Well, she's mine. She's my hero.
That's amazing. So how about Sunny?
Sunny is in UCLA Law School. She's in her second year of law school. She's
just going for it.
I say Sunny for president.
Hey, you never know.
I always say, Sunny, I want to go on Air Force One. I want Sunny.
First woman president. You never know.
I think if anybody could do it, she could. She's my hope for the future. I have to tell you that. Yeah.
What's your message for Sunny?
Sunny is one of the most inspirational people I've ever met. I couldn't be prouder of her. I feel like the luckiest mom on earth for both of my children. So Sunny, if I can have a message to you, is just thank you for you. I love you, kid.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you think it's so much easier for you to communicate to the families that come to your rehab because you went through what you went through? And do you think that maybe you went through that for a reason, as a gift for you, so that you can uncover this future that you have now?
I do. I feel like there's a reason for everything in life, and I feel like I don't feel like I'm important in any way, shape, or form, but I feel like if maybe all of this was for one tiny second to help that one person out there, then it makes it all worth it. And yeah, parents relate to me and I relate to them, and I do everything I can to help them. They know I've been through it. I've fought the fight with them. I'm in the trenches with them. I help them bring bottom up. I help them with anything that they need. And one of the most important things out of all of this is communication, right? You never need to call for rehab. How many times can you find out how your kid is doing? You can't even get through to people. I can tell you, this is the first time I've ever not answered my phone, and I haven't been on a plane, okay? My husband has my phone right now. Every parent could always get a hold of me at any time.
Wow.
I'll answer you, and if I don't have the answer, I will find out. Period.
Okay, so you never gave up on your child. you you fought for Jessica. And when you say she's your hero, I bet you you are her hero as well. But do you think that because you have a treatment center now, and you think it's a critical part of the treatment for parents to be there for their children when they're in there, the young adult children?
I do, if it makes sense. Unfortunately, there's a lot of families out there that parents just are not capable. That's the truth. But the ones
Yeah.
that are, absolutely. I wish everybody would have great communication. We encourage involvement. We encourage involvement with our therapists, where they'll meet with the parents and the kids, and we try to work on a game plan that makes sense moving forward. It's all about your recovery. Might start at self-resent recovery,
Yeah.
but it's the rest of your life. So you got to work on it every day.
Yeah. Every day.
Yeah.
Oh, you're amazing, Lisa. Thank you so much. And before I ask you my last question, I do want you to tell our listeners where they can find you, what the name of your rehab is, and all
Sure.
that good stuff.
Okay, sure. Well, the name of my company is called Silver Sands Recovery. We're in Prescott, Arizona. The best way to call me is 888-845-9484. That's 888-845-9484. Or look us up online, silversandsrecovery.com. Click on call.
Awesome.
I will probably be the one answering the phone too.
And we'll add all that on the podcast notes and all of the social media posts that I will do as soon as I release this episode. Now, my last question for you is, what is your definition, Lisa's definition of the word mother hustler? It's one word. It's a play of two words put together. So when you heard that word, what came into mind? Because I know you are one.
Yeah, mother hustler. If I had to put those, think of what that would mean to me, it's somebody who, against all odds, against no sleep, against not having enough money, against having no support, will
Mm,
down to that very last piece of their core and be the mom that they need to be to help their family survive. That's what it means.
wow. You're amazing.
Yeah.
You are definitely a game changer in your industry, and obviously a life changer to many people. So thank you for how you show up in this world. You're a blessing to many, for
Thank you.
sure.
Thank you. It's good speaking.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure and an honor to be on your show.